Okay, so today's video we're going to do fermentation process to make Terra Preta. At least it's another experiment on how to see how to best make this Terra Preta stuff. Now the idea is that back in the days what they used to do in the Amazonian basin is do their business basically in these kind of clay pots. And this is like a civilization 1 million strong. And all of them used to, for hygienic reasons, basically bury those pots, and they would add charcoal powder to the whole thing as well. And because inside the actual feces, human feces, you have lactic acid bacteria, a fermentation process would start. And some even think they would plant like a banana tree in there, and the banana tree would kind of explode the pot, and then worms would get in there and digest up everything and turn that into good Terra Preta. Now, there are some people who are in Germany especially are doing kind of fermentation of different various materials using EM, and that's what we want to try today. Okay, so here we are. We have our special mixture of Terra Preta fermentation mixture. Now, I want to say right now, straight away at the outset, I'm experimenting with lots of different methods to make this Terra Preta. My first one was, of course, doing the wormery, where you just use cow dung and 20% charcoal, and I inoculated all that with lots of bacteria so the worms would eat it. And I would have also, I'm thinking of also adding sawdust eventually to this whole mixture, because in the sawdust you have these this material called lignin, and basically once that gets broken down by certain bacteria and also mainly fungi, it turns into a byproduct. So this organic matter turns into a byproduct called humus. And most of it gets gobbled up and then turned into nutrients for plants and so on, but some of this becomes stable humus. And of course, humus is full of nutrients because it has the ability to hold on to a lot of nutrients through this thing called cation exchange capacity. And the same goes for charcoal. Now, when I'm adding my charcoal and my wood sawdust and my cow dung together as a mixture, I'm going to put it through the worms. The worms are going to gobble up nicely, and they're going to turn this into a combined chain of different, like humus-rich, charcoal-rich kind of substance. That's the plan. And once that happens, it becomes very, very stable, because charcoal can be stable for thousands of years. Humus can be stable between 10 and 100 years, depending on how it was created. And of course, worm compost is very high in humus because of that. So it's not just what the material is like made out of, but it's also to do with what kind of creatures kind of gobbled it up and how it kind of got, I don't know, transformed into this substance. With my wormery, I wanted to just see what about just cow dung, and just do it very simply first. And once you do it simply, you can then really kind of see, well, what do I need to add to make it work? Maybe just the simple steps is all I need to do. Okay, so this then is our fermentation. We'll take a closer look at it now. I thought Jane was coming there, so I ended the video here. Alright, so fermentation is anaerobic. And basically what we have here is a plastic bag in a container that is completely sealed. And now, if you don't have a lid, by the way, you can actually put this plastic bag on there and just put some water in here, and that'll kind of seal off the air, and then you have a nice anaerobic condition. And what I've done is, you can see here some fungi starting to come. It's very fine layer of fungi on top of there. It's very hard to see. I don't think the camera will pick it up. It's like a bit of a mold. But this smells really, really, it smells like nothing. And that is good, because there was a lot of cow urine in this, and it stunk to high heavens. So this is 3 weeks later. So we have here wood chips and different materials in there, and this is going to become our mulch now for our Terra Preta. It's just another ingredient. And I want to show you actually now what I'll do. I'll prepare this again. I'll put this now onto, at the end of the video, onto the actual bed. But first I'm going to prepare this actual mixture and show you how I actually went about it. Hi Janie! There you are. Okay, one more thing that I want to show you is this wormery as well. Now, it's only about 3 weeks or 2-3 weeks since I made the last video on Terra Preta, and since I fed them, and it's just amazing how quickly these worms are just going through this stuff. If you remember, there was quite the rough stuff, and that's what it looks like now. Just amazing. I can feel the worms all wiggling away in my hand. So we might actually put that onto the wormery bed, experimental bed, and then from then onwards I might start putting in some sawdust to see. So start another bed with the sawdust, and then we can compare in a few years' time, or maybe 1 year's time, how good it's doing or not compared to each other. Okay, let's put this stuff on the bed, and oh my god, it's heavy actually. Let's just see if there's any liquid still in there. I mean, we did drain off quite a lot of it, and it's just a great fertilizer as well. And there's nothing much. Oh, there's a little bit of liquid still.
So clear, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a bit yellow. This is actually just the liquid from the juice. We've literally cleared out about a bucket of this. So that's pretty cool. There's quite a lot of liquid coming out there. Jeepers. Anyway, you guys get the idea. I'll skip to when it's finished flowing. Oh, well, no need to skip that. And that's it. So the first thing we are going to do now, we did dump out the stuff, and you'll see that at the end of the video. First thing we're going to do is we're going to take some of this wood shavings. It has to be wood shavings, thin shavings, because you want it to be able to break down. Also, it's been sitting here for like 5 months or so, so that's the actual essential oils should be out of there by now. So we just need enough for making a container's worth. So let's just say that's more than enough, huh? That's what we're gonna add. So come with me. Alright, so we're gonna make our super duper Bokashi, which is basically, Bokashi is just where you take something like wheat bran, some EM, you just throw it all together, you exclude oxygen and sunlight, and boom, in about a week's time you have this stuff called Bokashi, which is really, really good. But because we haven't got the wheat bran, we want to also try and make it from just weeds, and you can pretty much use anything. Now, the main thing for making this Terra Preta ferment, it would be better if we had this lactic acid bacteria, which you can get in cow dung, inside cow dung, but you can also make it yourself by getting some rice. You put it into a liter bottle like this, so about that much rice. You add about maybe, I don't know, like that much jaggery or molasses, a little bit of molasses, and then you add some salt as well. And then you just shake it about 100 times, and then you keep it in the dark, and you have to off-gas it every day for three times every day. And be careful, because if you open it, it can just go and that's not good. It can be dangerous. So it's better actually to put like one of those wine thingies on top to off-gas it. And this would be better. Then you can make, because on the rice and on grass and like, you know, hay and all this kind of stuff, you have this lactic acid bacteria actually living on there, and when you're putting sugar in there and you're shaking it, you're knocking them off, and then they grow in this. And because you keep it in the dark and you added salt, they are the only ones that can grow in this smoothie.
Right.
Okay.
How long do you do that for then?
Oh, 7 days. And then you just, and then you have like a real good, you know, like lactic acid bacteria. You can clean anything with it. It's really, really cool stuff. But there's also lactic acid bacteria in this EM.
Right.
Amongst other things as well. So we're going to use that today.
Right.
I'm just going to dump that here, and we can just use it at our own time. Now I'm going to show you just how we're going to make it. We're going to just do like several layers, and then you get the idea, and then basically we're not going to bore you through all the different layers. We'll just do maybe one layer of each, and then it's repeated each time. Okay, so first we're going to start off with just some weeds. So that's our N, our green N. Okay. Right. Then we're going to take a little bit of this stuff, maybe about that much. Yeah. Okay. Now we're going to put on our cow urine.
God, I thought you were just going to drop that.
And we don't need much, we just need a bit of extra nitrogen in there. on top of our wood shavings. Now shavings are important because if they're like pieces, nothing will actually be able to decompose it in time. It would just take way too long. Now we should maybe use a watering can for this. Okay, next step. We're gonna just put on a sprinkling of this biochar. A little goes a long way. And then last but not least, the EM, which is going to be very acidic, will go on top of our charcoal mix. And that will neutralize the high alkalinity of the biochar. It'll also start putting in all those microbes in there, because this is very acidic. I mean, in theory anyway.
It's quite alkaline, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. And actually what we want to do is we want to try and create that byproduct, which is the humus, and we want it to combine with the charcoal, which will make it stable and last a long time in the soils, hold a lot of nutrients, and basically that's all we got to do then to our soils once we find out a good mixture of making this stuff kind of stable. Because we have here just basically, look at that, that's just sand, and those particles are way too big, which means the surface area is way too small. And I mean, they say in that much charcoal you have the surface area. If you were to lay out this charcoal, all the cavities inside, microscopic cavities outside, if you were to lay it out, it would be the size of something between like 4 and 20 or something football fields. I mean, 4 is already big enough, so let's just say 4 football fields. The entire surface area of 4 football fields. It's just amazing, and a lot of nutrients can hold on to that. Where sand has the surface area of maybe, I don't know, maybe 30 square meters or something, if you were, not even, you know. Okay, so you get the idea. We'll get a watering can, Jane, so we can spread this out a bit easier. And we'll skip now to the bit where we're actually going to put it out onto the bed itself. Okay. We'll just dump this out here, and we're going to make a second batch, and then we're going to be able to have that second batch on here as well. Right. That's actually, guys, if you remember, that's where we put the worm compost stuff just by itself. And tomatoes in this country don't do very well anyway. It's been raining like crazy. I'm surprised that this hybrid, this is my F2 now. I'm surprised that it's actually even just living a little bit. This is, by the way, so no indication how well this bed is doing. It's tomatoes, as you know, it's just atrocious here. It's like, there's really no point to doing it. But this is just a variety that seems to be not dying of blight, so that's encouraging. Alright, let's dump that guy on here. And that's what it looks like, fermented. Whew. Yeah! Put that on as mulch. Look, there's fungus here, in this layer here. So that's cool. I think I'll get a fork.
Yeah.
I'll spread it out a little bit and see what happens then.
We could do hands if you want.
Yeah, fermentation, that's basically another method of making this Terra Preta. Yeah, let's just do it with the hands, eh? So we made wheat sauerkraut. That's what we've done.
Look at the layers, still keeping into the layers.
Yeah. I mean, the main thing of this fermentation process is really just to kind of try and break this stuff up a little bit, so the small critters can really get into it. That's kind of the idea. Mix that up a bit.
Wow. Look at that, what a layer.
Maybe we should wait a little bit longer for the fermentation process to be finished, Jane, you know?
Right.
I think we're not there yet, you know? We put it on a bit early.
Right.
But it is starting to break down. And we're going to put another second one on top. So we'll see how that goes. Okay, that's nicely covered now. And let's go biochar and everything. So we see how that goes.
It's really got a pickled smell, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, that's it, eh? We just made sauerkraut. Okay, so another thing we did is we put on the actual Hessian bags. Reason being is because we wanted to...
Keep the moisture in for the fermentation.
Right, so because otherwise, you know, in this kind of heat within 3 hours or so, it just be dried out, all the bacteria would go to sleep, and that's not what we want. And that's also the reason why we... If you remember, I dug in very gently the worm compost into that bed, and we stuck on some of that mulch as well. Anyway, that's it. I hope you enjoyed the video, and we might see you in the next one as well. Bye.